προσκαλέσω τον κύριο, I would like to welcome Dr. Eyal Pinko, President of International Institute for Migration and Security. Mr. Eyal, are you with us? Can you confirm that you are okay?
I am. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. I just want to share my presentation.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you very much for inviting me here. And I would like to share you my experience from a different type of perspective. I served in the Israeli Navy and in other security services in Israel for many years. And also I served as a consultant for the Israeli Cyber National Directorate. And I would like to speak maybe just to give another perspective of the maritime cybersecurity, first from the attacker perspective, with experience of many years from the, let's say, the opponent, the offensive side, and also from my experience in many projects around the world, also from the Israeli Cyber National Directorate. So it will be also from the defender side. And I will not go inside very deeply into technology, because I would like to make some announcement in which I think the implementation of cybersecurity, especially in the maritime domain, it's not all about technology, and more than that, even cyber is the part of technology. It's the less part of cyber, and I would like to emphasize that during the next few minutes. So just how to attack a port. You know, in the old days, you have to bring aircraft. This is from Pearl Harbor, or torpedoes, missile, you know, or just in the fashion way how to attack a port, or sea commando. But you know, nowadays things are different, and we speak about the role of cyber, which everything that I would like to invite you to take the blue pill from the Matrix movie, and maybe to shake your mind and shake your understanding about the world of cyber as we know it, because I think, and I am dealing with these issues of maritime cyber for many, many years, from practical and academical point of views. And I think that the maritime industry did not understand yet that it's under threat, and because of the high prices of maritime transportation, it is very expensive to do cyber, and most of the shipping company are saying, it won't happen to me, it will be okay, don't worry. If something will happen, I will deal with that. So I would like you, and I will, as a proposal, to take the blue pill and start think differently about that. And absolutely, when we think about cyber as the art of networks, in which we understand that everything connects to each other, and this era of cyber, I would like to emphasize that cyber warfare is really the struggle for data, also in the maritime domain, in which you want to get control your opponent systems, information, data systems, to attack, exploit, disrupt, wherever you want, whenever your mission is, while you're defending yours. And in a very broad aspect, I won't go into all of this now, but when you will ask people what cyber is, they will say, hey, cyber is attacking, defending. But I think that cyber is much more than that, because if you see what can be achieved from influence campaigns and the bad influence through the network or social media, and the use of cyber for criminal activities, and the use of cyber for also what I called here EW, electronic warfare, we understand that cyber warfare has much more effects in the maritime domain than only just attacking, defending. This is a part of that, but we need to look on that in a very broad aspect. Especially when we speak about adversaries, our opponents in the cyber domain, we need to understand that it's not like something, it's the enemies are terror organizations or states. we need to look at the adversary in a very broad aspect, from amateurs and criminals that can achieve a lot by penetrating and doing penetrating to ports or vessels. They can achieve a lot of gains by doing that. And maybe the most critical thing are the insiders, are our employee. We are our own enemies, because most of the attacks will take the advantage of the human resources in order to overcome the barriers of technology. Technology is nice, it's important, but in every attack, I will do manipulation on the human factor in order to penetrate the technology. And we need to understand it. Of course, the insiders can be, from one hand, in a very innocent way, to be manipulated, but insiders also can be one that want to cause harm for your organization. They want to steal, they want to take revenge, they want to do something in a not very innocent way. And we need to understand that those insiders, our employees, are the gateway, really the gateway, to overcome the technological measures that we will bring to the organization, and they are the most important thing that we'll need to take care of. So this is, I will claim at the end, that because of that technology, it's very important, but it's not the most important thing in order to create a cyber security. And to the maritime domain itself, in a strategic point of view, the maritime domain is a very critical domain for humanity, for globalization, for the world economies. And we see that each year more and more vessels are over there. And you see the movement in the maritime domain, the movement of ships, it's became more and more bigger, especially are now coming back to businesses after slowly after the COVID-19. But the vessels are not the rest of the whole issue, because we need to look at the maritime domain in a very broad aspect. The vessels, the maritime transportation, but also the economical zone, the energy, the gas and oil rigs. We need to look at the oil supply routes, which are critical to understanding the threat with the maritime domain, and of course also the communication routes. And the underwater cables are just laying over there on the bottom of the sea, and they are pretty vulnerable for a piracy, for terrorist attacks, for nation state attacks. So we need to look at the problem of cyber in a very broad aspect, and not say, okay, let's deal with the ports, let's deal with the vessels. We need to look in a very broad aspect. And the threat in the cyber domain is just increasing every year. You can see here some statistics. I think that the real figures are much higher, because the maritime industry wants to hide, like all in other industries, they want to hide the real figures. Some of them are just do not understand they are under attack, but some of them are really want to hide the real figures of that. And you can see here the slope, how it goes with the increasing phenomenon of cyber attacks on the maritime security. And I won't go into all the details. We saw a lot of examples from 2014 about cyber attacks on Lloyd's, and Mars was the one that brought it to the table. But sorry, in the matter of fact, those cyber attacks were much more before even Mars was attacked. And we see a lot of those, like Costco and the port of Rotterdam and port of Elizabeth. And you can go, I have here many examples. Even by the way, even the Chinese hacked into a USS Navy ship, which is absolutely amazing. And understand that the warship is going in the ocean and being hacked by the satellite communication from the Chinese. This is absolutely amazing achievement for the Chinese side. And speaking about EW, electronic warfare, we well know the phenomenon of GPS spoofing in the sea. And I can go like this for giving you the example for 2-3 hours. Much more examples of that, of really events that occurred in the maritime domain. And even Royal Caribbean, you know that with with the casino and the human life are over there, this can be a very big problem to ships, to vessels, and to ports at all. And I will go through this dimension. So we are really in the new age of piracy. Piracy has changed its face. Piracy is being conducted in the maritime domain, not only the 250 physical attacks annually, but also in the cyber domain by nation states, by countries, terror organizations, criminals, and even by amateurs that want to gain some reputation or ego or other motivations. And we understand that ports and shipping more and more vital for economy, security, sovereignty. And we need to understand that we cannot treat the port and say, okay, the port is okay, the port is now under security and well secure. Because first, the threats are going more and more better and better from one hand. And then we need to understand the most critical thing, that ports and vessels and gas rigs are now in one big network. This is a one big ecosystem. We cannot say, okay, let's treat the port, the ship, it's 200 miles in the sea or 2,000 miles in the sea, nothing will happen. This is not true, because the connectivity is so high that everything could be together. Just imagine, I will, just for example, I will attack the ACDIC, the automatic map update. This could be terrible for the maritime industry, not only to vessels, but to many other things. I did once a risk assessment for a very known shipping company, and the owner, the CEO, told me, "Look, we don't have any connectivity, nothing." I told him, "You don't use SATCOM?" "Ah, yes, we use SATCOM, but it's not connected to the ship networks." So I said, "Okay, no problem. What about the map updates?" "Ah, this is not connected to the internet. We just bring a CD-ROM and put it in the system." So I told him, "The CD-ROM, it cannot contain malware and viruses that go inside the ship." So I think we have to, in our maritime industry, we need to change the perspective of what can be done. And I tell you that as from the point of an attacker, not only from a defender point of view. And everything is being well connected in the port with many digital systems. Everything became automatic. Lots of information systems, and not only in the port but also in the ship, which once a day or once upon a time the ships were like that. But when we speak about vessels now, you have many sensors and satellite communication and AIS and many other systems that can be hacked, can be manipulated, not only by hacking, but also by the human factor, also by the supply chain. And we need to take care of that in a very holistic perspective. So the threats are huge. It can be from disruption and shutdown on ports, to steal information, to change information, like changing manifests, the smuggling, terror. The threats are very wide, in a very wide perspective. And also to vessels. Just imagine that I'm dealing and I managed to hack into the system that set the containers in the right place in the ship, and I'm just changing places with containers. The center mass of the ship will be changed, and what will happen with that, I'm sure that you can imagine by yourself. Speaking about security on that, we need to understand that every small incident can easily develop to a crisis from one computer that was infected because of working in a network. One computer that was infected, or cellular phone, can cause massive mess, and can become very fast to a crisis. And the crisis, or the damages from a crisis, can be from damaging data assets, problematic with continuity of the business, disruption of business, and many other things. But we need to understand also that a cyber asset can absolutely have impact on our reputation, the public trust, and many other factors regarding that. And when I will perform attack, by the way, I will attack one of your employees. From the employees, it can spread all over, and very fast it can go from from an organization or company to a sector and to a national level very, very fast. So I think it's time to wake up, even though we have regulation, the IMO is speaking about it, the BIMCO speaks about it, the US Coast Guard speaks, everyone speaks about regulation. But I think this is not the issue of regulation. Regulation is one part, just in order to say that to board of directors that we are okay. But the matter of fact, we need to wake up really and to understand that we need to have a cybersecurity strategy and well promoted, well implemented in our all the maritime industry because of the connectivity. So what can be a cybersecurity strategy? It can be like most of us are doing today, and to say it won't happen to us, nothing will happen, we will be okay. It's a method. Another thing can be that okay, something will happen, we'll go to the Greek government, they will pay us everything will be okay. We have the Minister of Maritime Affairs, it will be okay. We can say, okay, if something will happen, the public will pay, the insurance will pay, someone else will pay that, because we don't want to invest time and money. We can do it in another way, to put a lot of technologies, which is nice, but in a matter of fact, most of the attacks, almost 100% of the attacks, will overcome technology. Never mind how much technology will put in how many measures, the way that I can manipulate the employees, the supply chain, will bring me the achievement of achieving a cyber attack, even though you put a lot of technologies. So I think that the most important thing to implement is a strategy that being based on three pillars. First is technology, because cyber is technology, at the baseline of that. But you need to build a pillar of preparedness and a pillar of resilience. Just as a short glance of that, because I'm out of time almost. Technology like a SOC, cloud-based solutions, access control, many technologies that you can implement. By the way, technology needs to be implemented according to understanding the threat. You just don't go to the supermarket and buy technological solutions. You want to put technology that will fit first your understanding of the threat and the risks and the impact of those first, and secondly, while taking into consideration your budget constraints. So this is not a supermarket. You need to have a great understanding what to implement in technology regarding what I said just now. But you can do a lot of things more with much less money. The first one is the preparedness, and I put here some examples of that. For example, say awareness training for the employees, putting everything in procedures, doing war games, for example, which means that you need to put your C-level managers and train them what to do if you will be under attack, and saying to yourself, it's not that I'm not going to be under attack. In a different way, you said you will need to say when we will be under attack. It's a matter of when, not a matter of if. So war games to train the managers, control your supply chain to understand the danger or the threats from the supply chain. And we have for that, for example, a model that analyzes the threat from your supply chain or from the suppliers. And you have to deal with the employee reliance to understand that none of them in a regular way have any attention to steal, to do something that you don't want them to do from any type of motivation. You need to have a physical security in order to avoid people of coming nearby your systems, and there are many others. I just put here some examples. So preparedness will bring you the ability to understand what to do while a cyber attack, and will help you to overcome, to avoid going into cyber attacks. Because, for example, by awareness and of the employees, you can be more aware, and you will can reduce significantly the mistakes, the error that your employees will do. Last but not least is resilience. Resilience, it means that I want to go back to business as fast as I can with at least damage in reputation, in money, and also resilience is measures of like backup and recovery, for example, against a ransom attack. It can be intermediate response team to respond very fast if you're under attack. And there is a very big issue here that I think that most of the companies, especially in the maritime domain, do not understand, which is the legal issue. You need to take care of the legal issue, and lawyers are the most critical persons when you're under attack. And I think that most of the companies say, lawyers, leave them alone. I don't want to deal with them. Lawyers are the most important persons if you are under attack, and you need to take it into consideration. So as a summary, in order to bring the best cybersecurity strategy and work plan to your organization, you need to take care of all those 3 dimensions in organizational point of view, employees point of view, supply chain, and technology, in order to avoid attacking from one hand, and from the second hand, to be more resilient, to come back to business as fast as you can. I said it in a very fast way, but this is the idea behind that. By the way, this is the idea that was implemented by the Israeli National Cyber Directorate. This is a methodology I wrote for them while I was a consultant over there, and this is what is implemented in Israel in a way to be much more secure in the cyber domain. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pinko, for your presentation. I think you highlighted pretty accurately the current issue, the current problem in maritime sector, and how difficult it is to convince maritime and shipping owners to invest in cybersecurity, despite the fact that there are numerous cyber events, cyber incidents out there. There are solutions, but the decision needs to be taken to invest and implement those security controls and solutions in order to protect the critical infrastructure, which is the maritime in our case. Thank you very much. Any questions? Will you follow up offline?